Good evening and welcome to NEWSBREAK Live. I'm Hiba Sama. Thanks for joining us. The Torrance Police Department were out in full force educating drivers recently. Torrance Police report they hosted a high visibility enforcement on March 29th between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. It took place at Delama Boulevard between Maple Avenue and Western Avenue. The focus was combating accident hotspots. This type of enforcement focuses on educating through visibility elements. They cited 26 drivers for speeding, 2 drivers for cell phone use, and another 2 drivers for truck route violations. Final installations for the Pacific Coast Highway and Madison project will be completed this week. You can breathe a sigh of relief. Contractors will finish curb ramps and installation of traffic signal cables and wiring. Lane closures will be in effect every day through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The new left turn signals will be activated this Thursday. Camino College was buzzing with resources to keep students healthy today. From free health screenings, giveaways, to massages, students stopped by to check out the spring health fair on campus. They had the chance to enroll in a medical insurance plan, receive free blood pressure, blood sugar, and breathing screenings. Some students also created their own aromatherapy chassis. The event took place until 2 p.m. and El Camino Police conducted an impaired driving simulation in front of the activity center. April is a month where you can sign up to save a life. The City of Torrance is encouraging people to check yes to be a donor when applying or renewing their driver's license or ID card. More than 114,000 people nationwide are currently on the National Organ Transplant waiting list. On average, 20 people die each day while waiting due to the shortage of donated organs. A single individual's donation of the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, and small intestines can save up to 8 lives. Over 14 million Californians have signed up with the state-authorized Donate Life California registry to ensure their wishes are honored. The City of Torrance will announce April as DMV Donate Life California Month tonight during the City Council meeting. To sign up, go to donatelifecalifornia.org. Today is all about playing ball, and we're talking baseball. The City of Torrance will proclaim today as Play Ball Day. The United States Conference of Mayors and Major League Baseball have come together to promote youth baseball on playball.org. The City of Torrance will honor and celebrate local athletes who engage in baseball. In Torrance alone, there are great partnerships such as Riviera Little League, Torrance Little League, West Torrance Little League, Torrance Batting Cages, and much more. You can catch the proclamation tonight at 7 p.m. A Torrance business continues to give back to the community. Neuro, a brand marketing, PR, and entertainment media company, announced the launch of its 2018 annual nonprofit PR grants program for charities today. Each grant is valued at $2,400 and will be offered to 10 U.S.-based nonprofit organizations doing good on a regional or national level. But this isn't the first time Neotrope has done this program. It launched in 2000, and the grant program helps raise awareness of selected charities to traditional media, to the public, and to potential sponsors. Now, there is no fee to apply. Applications are being accepted through July 1st. You can find grant information at prgrants.com. Toys R Us customers, you still have the chance to cash in on your gift cards despite the big retailers shutting down. After the closing of all Toys R Us retailers, Bed Bath & Beyond has stepped up to lend a helping hand. Customers can trade in Toys R Us or Babies R Us gift cards with a minimum of $20 and exchange it for a Bed Bath & Beyond e-gift card to use online. Officials say the trade-in will be of less value. The company is partnering with Card Cash, an online gift card marketplace. The offer does not apply to store merchandise credits and ends this Thursday at 11:59 p.m. For the guidelines from Bed Bath & Beyond, you can head to bedbathandbeyond.cardcash.com. Now let's get to the weather. Today the sun was out with a high of 65 degrees and an expected low of 54 tonight. Then on Wednesday the winds will pick up with a high of 65 degrees and an expected low of 55. On Thursday there will be a high of 64 degrees with an expected low of 56. Provincial Company of Mary Medical Center received their largest donation in history, and to say thank you, they named a tower after the donor. Here's Jesse Pierre.
The evening started with a special serenade for the woman in honor by her eldest son.
She's very generous. She helps everybody. If someone needs help, they go see mom helps them.
Priscilla Hunt and her family are being recognized for another landmark contribution in Torrance. Priscilla and her late husband have built a legacy on giving back and are known for their generous donations to Torrance Memorial Medical Center. Now across town, they are giving yet another gift.
Your name is a legacy that will be lasting. And I'm sure that my husband, Donald, is not here, but he's here in spirit. He gave me the opportunity to be the messenger, and I deliver.
Their journey with Providence started in 2004 when the couple wrote their first check of $100,000 for the hospital. Since that day, their contributions and impact on the healthcare industry has only gotten bigger.
And what it's going to mean for the community is that we're going to be able to advance our cardiac services through interventional, through screening, through diagnostic testing, and help people get back to their lives as soon as possible.
And thanks to the $20 million contribution, the Del Vicario Cardiovascular Center of Excellence will be home to the first comprehensive stroke center in the South Bay. The new center means an increase in outpatient capacity by 40%, a new electrophysiology lab, the finest and most up-to-date equipment, and 3 additional rooms for interventional cardiology.
And the generous gift completed a $35 million campaign to build new facilities and new technology to advance the cardiovascular center here at Providence Little Company of Mary. And now the Donald and Priscilla Hunt Tower will welcome visitors and patients for years to come. For Torrance City Cable, I'm Jessie Pierre.
Thanks, Jesse. The Cardiovascular Center of Excellence is expected to be completed by early 2020. A popular beer company is voluntarily recalling its products. Stella Artois beer may contain particles of glass. The recall includes Stella 6-packs, 12-packs, 18-packs, and 24-packs, the Best Belgium, and Stella Artois Lager. The company has detected small pieces of glass that could break off and possibly fall into the beer. The precautionary step is to make sure customers are safe. Officials also say they're working with distributors and retail partners to remove potentially affected packages from retail stores. The recall does not affect other Stella packaging formats. For more information on products affected, go to stellaartois.expertinquiry.com. Honda sets a new March record for total sales. American Honda sold nearly 142,400 vehicles in the month of March, breaking their record from the year before. In comparison to the numbers in March 2017, Honda saw an overall increase by 3.8%. Honda's deep truck lineup helped the brand set new records with an increase of 7%. The Honda Civic is still going strong, setting a new record with a 3.4% increase in sales, making it the top-selling retail car in America. And before the next half of NewsBreak Live, here are some upcoming events you won't want to miss that are just around the corner. This Saturday, you will want to check out the delicious breakfast while giving back. The Attic Teen Center is hosting its pancake breakfast from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. this Saturday. It's the 19th anniversary celebration open house. Tickets are just $5 per person. Then tickets are on sale for the Black and White Affair hosted by the Torrance Education Foundation. It will help fundraise to support TUSD STEM programs. The event is being held on April 14th at the Doubletree Hotel in Torrance. You can purchase tickets at 501auctions.com/TEF Gala. Well, in just 2 minutes, Dr. Allison Arch from the New Providence Neurology Medical Institute will join me live to talk about its recent grand opening and the expertise doctors there are offering. We'll be back in just a few.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But, here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like, that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, the commitment, the drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent like me.
Welcome back to the second half of NEWSBREAK Live, and joining me is Dr. Allison Arch from the New Providence Neurology Medical Institute. How are you tonight?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
This is a special time for your team as you just celebrated the opening of the new institute with the focus of neurology about a few weeks ago. So let's start with the beginning. Tell me all about it.
Absolutely. So we opened a new neurology clinic. It's very big and exciting news for Providence and hopefully for the South Bay as well. This has been a project that started 2 years ago or over 2 years ago by Providence at Little Company of Mary, trying to build a comprehensive neuroscience center and institute. We started on the inpatient side, so if you're in the hospital, recruited neurologists and neurosurgeons and neurointerventional radiologists and all sorts of neurology specialties, but when you see a patient on the inpatient side, they then need to follow up with a physician on the outpatient side.
Right.
So we have all these patients who are looking for a neurologist, and we then opened a neurology center to see these patients, and right now there's 2 of us, and we're hiring 2 more, so there's going to be a total of 4 soon.
So tell me about you, Dr. Arch, and Dr. Farah Villanueva, who were running video of the ribbon cutting that just happened recently, who came together to open this.
Absolutely. So there's 2 of us now, as I mentioned, and my specialty is actually in vascular neurology or stroke, and Farah Villanueva is actually a pediatric neurologist. So, and then both of us are trained in general neurology as well. So we see any specialty or any neurologic disease from the brain to the spinal cord to the nerves and muscles, for instance, stroke, seizures, migraines. And then if you have a complicated stroke and you want to see a vascular neurologist, I would be the one that you would see in clinic. And then if you're a child below the age of 18 and have a condition like a seizure or migraine or developmental delay, then my partner would be happy to see those patients.
Great, and Doctor, we'll go more into the services and the great services that the facility does have to offer, but this is the second specific facility to neurology, that just opened in Torrance and with Providence. And you kind of talked about having this need in the community. So talk to me a little bit about having this practice in the South Bay and specifically here in Torrance.
Yeah, so every community is going to have a need for a neurologist or a neurosurgeon. And the South Bay, for whatever reason, they have neurologists and neurosurgeons here, but there just weren't enough for the size of the population in the South Bay. So we are the second neuroscience center to open, the first being the neurosurgery and the surgical team. And we really hope to fill this need. So instead of patients having to drive all the way to Los Angeles on the 405, and we know how that can get, that we really are here based in the community, short drive, short commute, friendly front desk staff. We're very happy to see you, and we look forward to seeing the South Bay residents in our clinic.
I also want to mention the hospital operates one of just 9 comprehensive stroke centers across the county that are designated for patients suffering from severe stroke symptoms, right?
Yeah, we're the first comprehensive stroke center in all of the South Bay. And for whatever reason, we don't know why, the South Bay has a lot of strokes, the people of the South Bay. And they need somewhere to go. And we know that patients with strokes have better outcomes when they go to a comprehensive stroke center. So that's what started our process 2 years ago to build this comprehensive stroke center in the hospital, which then transforms into a neurologic institute. And what is a comprehensive center? And that is when you have a stroke, you want to go someplace where you enter the emergency department and you have specially trained ER physicians, nurses who can identify a stroke. Then you have vascular neurologists such as myself who will see you in the emergency department. If you need the clot, if you have a clot causing a stroke and you need someone to take it out, we have an interventional radiologist to do that. If you need neurosurgical help or neurocritical care, we have special physicians for that. We have dedicated neurology nurses. So it's quite a comprehensive center, and we know that stroke patients do better in these centers, and we're here to serve the community.
It's also a good point to mention that many people know, but sometimes stroke situations are life and death. So getting to the right place at the right time could mean someone surviving such a situation.
Absolutely, and I always tell people, if you think you're having a stroke, that's where I want your thinking to end. I just want you then to call 911, get to the hospital as soon as possible, and let us continue the thinking for you. Hopefully you're not having a stroke, but if you are, we are there to assist you through the stroke journey.
Many of us heard of FAST, which is checking their face, arm, movement, speech, and time. But are there other signs of stroke? And for people who don't know what FAST is, could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So FAST is an acronym that helps people in the community understand or if they're having a stroke. Mm-hmm. So if you're having a facial droop, that's the F. If you're having arm weakness, if your speech is, if you're having trouble talking, is the best way to put that for the S. And then the last one, T, is time. Time is brain is a saying that we like to use a lot in the hospital. And that is, if the faster we can help you with the stroke, the better your outcomes are going to be. So those are some of the common symptoms of a stroke. But what I like to tell my patients in the clinic is that if you're having unilateral, so one side of your body becomes weak or numb, that is a troubling sign. If you know what words you want to say but you're having trouble getting them out, if suddenly you're having double vision, if you're walking around like you're drunk but you haven't had any alcohol, something like that that's happened suddenly, those could be stroke symptoms or signs, and you should really get yourself to the hospital if that's the case.
Do certain people have different types of symptoms besides the main ones that you just mentioned?
Absolutely. There are some less common ones, and these are tricky because some of the less common ones would be sudden nausea, vomiting, or dizziness, and a lot of things can cause that. So these are symptoms that tend to be missed. These strokes tend to be missed, and so what I tell someone is if you're having your everyday dizziness or if you're feeling nauseous for a moment, that's okay. But if you're normal 1 second and then the next second you're vomiting profusely and you can't stop, or if the room is spinning around you so vigorously that you can't walk, that could be a stroke, and you should really get yourself to the emergency department if that's the case.
Besides strokes, there are a bunch of other disorders and focuses that you and Dr. Villanueva focus on. So I do want to talk about that. What are some of these expertise that you did mention a little bit earlier that you can provide to patients? I know about Alzheimer's, dementia that you've mentioned. So if you can go a little bit into that.
Sure. So we treat a wide range of neurologic disorder. Stroke obviously being the most common,
Right.
but migraines are very common. Seizures are common. Neuropathy is common. Farah Villanueva sees kids with all these disorders plus some developmental challenges or autism. And those are really, just to mention a few, Parkinson's disease and multiple sclerosis. We're really trained in all of those wide variety of neurologic disorders. And as I mentioned before, in addition to us, by the end of the summer, we'll have two more who specifically focus, one on seizures and the other on the peripheral nerves. So, for instance, neuropathy and muscle disorders. So we're really specially trained not only in general neurology, but then in these more individual branches of neurology too.
When it comes to finding cures or how to deal with certain situations, is the facility, in what way are you guys in the forefront with some of these neurological issues?
Excuse me. So, going back to strokes, this past year has been strokes. The care of strokes has grown in leaps and bounds. You come in with a stroke that happened the day before, and you just weren't aware of it. Then 6 months ago, oftentimes we could do nothing for you. But this year, there have been some very powerful clinical trials that have been published that have lended strong support to the fact that you can now treat strokes up to a day, 2 days after the symptoms have started.
Wow.
So I mentioned before that time is brain, and that's true. But stroke care is now changing into not only is time is brain, but there's also a subset of patients that even if time has elapsed, we can still treat that. So that's the first thing. And I do apologize, I have a little bit of a cold. But moving back to the clinic side of things, if you have migraines that are difficult to treat with medications, or you're not able to take the medications because of side effects, we can give Botox for that. If you have seizures that are challenging to treat, we offer the latest treatments for them, particularly when our new neurologist is going to start. So really anything that neurology has to offer, we can do. So, I keep mentioning strokes because particularly in the South Bay, it is above and beyond the most common thing we see. But I don't want people to think if they have a more rare neurologic disorder, we can treat that as well.
Okay. And does this also have to do with technology too that's on the forefront that maybe you guys use?
So yes, so our team, the neurologic team that we work with, absolutely. So the neurosurgery group that we work with and the neurointerventional radiology group that we work with, yes, they are using the most up-to-date treatments for tumors and aneurysms, and that's all technology. And it's actually amazing what they can do. So, their office is actually the first office that opened. It's right across the hall from us. So if you need something like that as a neurologist, as a general neurologist, we don't offer, then we send you across the hall to our colleagues, the neurosurgeons and the people that do use the technology to help you.
And I think this is a great opportunity for people who are watching to know the services that are offered right here, especially if they're in the South Bay. And is it possible to have neurological symptoms that aren't connected to a movement or brain disorder that people might not even know about?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we have a lot of patients who come in and say, I think I have Alzheimer's, or, I think I had a seizure. And it turns out, after getting their history and running a few tests, that it's actually something completely unrelated. So they could have a low thyroid, a thyroid disorder that can mimic dementia, or they could actually have depression. That's a very, very common mimic of something like Alzheimer's disease. So I actually get happy when when I discharge patients from my clinic and I say, oh, you thought you had dementia, but it turns out you have this very treatable condition, and we're sending you back to your general practitioner to help you out here.
Great. So I do want to clarify the affiliation with Providence or PMI. So can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, so Providence is the umbrella organization that we all work with. So Providence is a hospital system. They own a lot of hospitals in Southern California and actually all over the West Coast. And then they have physician groups that contract with them. And so Providence is, what I belong to is actually a very large physician group. It's almost 200 physicians, and we contract with Providence. So it's not only neurology, neurosurgery, neurointerventional radiology, but also primary care and dermatology and cardiology and all the other specialists too are all under the Providence umbrella.
Wow, that's amazing. Dr. Arch, is there anything else you'd like to add about this new journey that you and other doctors are embarking on here in the South Bay?
Well, it's been a very wild ride. It's been exciting. We have a lot of support from the community, a lot of support from the administration at the hospital, and we are trying to get our names out there, and we are excited to see everyone in the community should you need us. If you have any questions, you can call us, you can come in and visit. And it's been, I mean, this journey is great. There's nothing more that I like more than to help build a program in a hospital in a community that needs one. So it's been a thrilling ride, and I thank you all for being on that ride with me.
Well, thank you, Dr. Arch. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Well, that does it for NewsBreak Live. City Council is back on the dais tonight, and if you ever have news or video that you'd like to share, please email us at newsbreak@torranceca.gov. Also, if you missed any portion of the show, you can catch it on Torrance City Cable's YouTube page, NewsBreak Live. Have a great night.